Hello, my name's Andy. I'm the Ginger Gamer. Welcome to episode 31 and part 4 of my Hogwarts Legacy playthrough. I'll tell you now, this is going to be a long one. There's lots I wanted to get through. Some side quests and a kind of quest that was really in two parts, but I wanted to get it done in one video. So I hope you enjoy that. If you've not watched this before, I'm not playing this on super difficulty level. I'm not doing 100% playthrough. I'm just kind of having fun with it. So as you see, I've got a few quests, some main quests, some side quests, and I get through most of them, I think, in this playthrough, which is good. I hope you enjoy it. Also, if you don't know, I'm editing and putting these videos together after I finish the whole game. So this will be a complete playthrough. Right, this first bit. And the other thing I do is I jump ahead. I don't expect you to follow me as I run through the countryside or explore the whole school. I do a bit of jumping through. Anyway, this is me meeting Natty.
It is good to see you, my friend.
Hello, Natty. How are you? I hope you've recovered from our rather eventful trip to Hogsmeade.
I am well, but I have been worried about you, my friend. With Ranrock and Rookwood and Harlow after you?
I'm all right at the moment.
We did not speak about it at the time, but I am hoping now you might tell me why they were looking for you.
They want something that Professor Fig and I found at Gringotts.
When were you at Gringotts?
Just before we came to Hogwarts. In fact, it's why I was late to the sorting ceremony. A portkey brought us there after the dragon attacked our carriage.
What on earth?
There's one more thing. It's a bit odd, if I'm honest. Professor Fig says I have a rare connection to a powerful form of ancient magic.
Is that the magic you used fighting the trolls in Hogsmeade?
I think so. I'm still learning, but I can see traces of it, and I've cast magic I can't otherwise explain. I know that's a lot to absorb.
It is. And I will have more questions. For now, it is safe to say that Rookwood and Harlow are a threat to both of us, to all of us, which is why I wanted to speak to you. I realized something that day in Hogsmeade. You displayed such courage fighting that troll, and Serona wasn't intimidated one bit by Rookwood and Harlow. Both of you have inspired me to take a stand of my own.
What sort of stand?
Men like Rookwood and Harlow are the reason my mother and I left Matabeleland. I am not going to sit by and watch them destroy my new home.
Good. Rookwood and Harlow are a dangerous pair. And the fact that they're working with Ranrock, well...
All the more reason they must be stopped. Rumor has it that Theophilus Harlow runs Rookwood's day-to-day operations. Taking him down would cripple Rookwood's entire enterprise.
That may be true, but shouldn't Officer Singer handle someone like Harlow?
I spoke with her. She was polite, but perhaps understandably would not discuss details with a student. I overheard some of Rookwood's lot talking about a massive poaching operation that Harlow is planning. I was thinking that we could investigate a bit, try to get the evidence that Officer Singer needs.
All right, but how?
I am going to watch and listen, find out precisely what Harlow is up to. I shall reach out when I know more. In the meantime, remember, I am here if you need me.
Thank you, Natty.
The other
Be on your guard.
The other thing I meant to say is I'm going to leave the cutscenes uninterrupted so you can hear all of it.
What's going on here?
Yeah, I'll just speed my way to this next quest.
They must have come this way. Think!
I've no idea who it is you think I might have seen. I've been busy with my research. I do not have time to...
Victor Rookwood don't give a doxy's nip back your time. Oi! Speak of the devil. Mr. Rookwood would like a word with you.
A student? You can't be sick.
Enough out of you.
Leave her alone.
Stupefy!
I hope you have your affairs in
Let me enter.
my fighting in this game still leaves a bit to be desired. I get better through this particular episode. I'm still a little ropey.
I'll watch the light go out of your eyes.
Levioso! I'm not going anywhere with you.
You'll take this student of the Stop that right now!
As I said, I am playing this on quite an easy difficulty level, and these enemies are quite easy, to be fair.
What on earth just happened? I've never been accosted in such a manner, and so close to Hogwarts.
Are you all right?
I am, thanks in no small part to your excellent defensive skills. Care to tell me why 2 Ashwinders were ready to dispatch me to get to you?
Ashwinders?
Victor Rookwood's thieves and extortionists, his little cronies. They seemed quite keen on you.
It's a long story, but thank you for your help.
Well, you've avoided them for the moment. Priya warned me things were getting dangerous. Best get moving on my research before they return.
You're a researcher?
Nora Treadwell at your service, historian and archaeologist specialising in Merlin's work and life.
Merlin? Of the legend of King Arthur?
The very same. Merlin attended Hogwarts, you know, and I'm studying some curious fixtures he left here centuries ago.
Fixtures?
These vine-covered pillars, dozens of them all around the area. I've taken to calling them the Trials of Merlin. I believe he created them as a diversion for his fellow Slytherins. He was terribly fond of puzzles and enigmas.
I can see why you're so interested in Merlin. I'd be keen to know more about the trials.
Well then, I'll let you in on a little secret. No one has yet managed to figure out how they work. But I believe I have just unlocked a crucial clue. I suspect that Mallowsweet is an important component in getting the trials to work.
Mallowsweet?
Versatile herb. Merlin repeatedly mentioned it in his writings. I had just arrived to test my theory when I was so rudely interrupted. You see, each swirl in Merlin's writing has its symbol in the centre. That started me thinking, what if...
The Mallowsweet is meant to be placed at the centre of the symbols.
Precisely. Would you care to do the honours? We can see what comes of our little hypothesis. I brought a trunk chock full of Mallowsweet with me. It's just over there by my tent.
If you've watched my previous episodes for Hogwarts Legacy,
Trunk.
Yes, take plenty, even if you already have some.
I sometimes take a while
I have the Mallowsweet.
to catch on to what I need to do.
Now,
And this is a
notice the
prime
lines
example.
on these pillars here, as well as a stone swell on the ground. Each trial has these features. Place the Mallowsweet on the swell, and we'll see what happens.
Yep. Yeah, I've sped it up to spare you.
My word! Did you see that? The vines disappeared.
What should I do now?
This is uncharted territory. I am curious about these pyres.
I mean, she basically tells me, and it still takes me ages. It's quite embarrassing, actually, I've found. I think I'm relatively competent at Prehistoric Kingdom, but honest to God,
Flames make the pyre sink.
it takes me so long to work it out sometimes. And I've played games like Skyrim and stuff,
Incendio.
and I still got lost so easy sometimes in this game. And it's not the game's fault, it's totally my fault.
Yes, how beautiful! can hardly believe it.
I take it we can call that a success?
We can indeed. However, I now have even more questions. How does it work? I must review my notes. I may have missed something.
Are all of the trials like this one?
Oh, not precisely. Well, I think each has those telltale vines and the swirl on the ground. You should feel free to solve them as you come across them. I believe I have what I need to continue my research. My guess is that each will also require mallow sweet, which you can find in Hogsmeade should you need more. I really must be off. Such a pleasure to meet you.
I've got to admit,
And do be careful out here. Now, I've got what I needed. I shall return to the safety of my notes and...
I barely ever, I don't think I actually complete another Merlin trial. I pay a little bit of attention to them as I make my way around the world, but I don't really. I'm going to go back and do some of the bits that I haven't finished in the game. But yeah, I'm appalling. But as I said, I'm not playing 100% playthrough or anything like that. I do a fair amount of side quests. Right, little jump there, and I'm off to Herbology. And the very, very enthusiastic Miss Garlic, who's the Herbology teacher. Obviously, I get a little confused where I'm meant to be going, but I get there in the end.
Is she growing Punja's onion again?
Good morning, Professor Garlic.
How wonderful it is to see you again, Lenora dear.
Oh, here. You'll need these for today's class. A little treat for your auntie.
Ah, hello. Class, please welcome the newest rose in our garden. We do look forward to growing together. How thrilling it is to have everyone back together again. This year will be filled with enchantment and excitement, but the most important thing cultivated in herbology is knowledge. The prudent herbologist is no more afraid of the venomous tentacula than the bouncing bulb. Now then, today we will be acquainting ourselves with the mellifluous tuber known as the mandrake root. Accio. Let's see if we can't make our fibrous friends a bit more comfortable, shall we? First, let's protect our ears. Now, everyone, grip the mandrake by the tendrils and give it a firm tug. The soil should envelop the root like a warm, dirty blanket, putting the mandrake right at ease. Reparo! I'm very sorry about that. Yours was a bit mature, I'm afraid. All right then, off you go. Splendid work, everyone.
Quite possibly the most happiest professor
we'll be
ever.
planting dittany at our potting tables.
You can all get started. I need to have a brief word with our new student.
I wonder if hippogriffs like mock grass.
Yes, Professor.
Firstly, well done with your mandrake. They can be rather difficult to get a grasp of.
Actually, I enjoyed it. I couldn't help but catch your enthusiasm.
How kind of you. It seems you're already taking to herbology like a mandrake to fresh soil. Now, as I mentioned, next we'll be planting dittany. Let us find you some seeds.
I already have some, Professor. Picked them up in Hogsmeade.
You visited the Magic Neep. Wonderful. A prepared student is bound to bloom. I've arranged for you to have your own potting table here in the classroom. Wasn't easy to spare one on such late notice. Plant the seeds there now, and you can return to harvest them later. Even with soil, sunlight, and a bit of magic, they will take time to grow.
Let's see how to balance my star thistle arrangement. Niffler's fancy or roses?
Dittany's restorative properties make it a vital ingredient in the Wiggenweld potion, as you all should know from Professor Sharp's class. Well done! Once it can be harvested, your Dittany will be ready to use in Wiggenweld potion. I'll let Professor Sharp tell you about that. Now, what say we branch out? Introduce you to a different sort of flora, the Chinese chomping cabbage. You'll find that some plants are better suited to uses outside of a cauldron. The cabbages do get testy without something to chew. Fortunately, I have a dummy for them to gnaw on. Be a dear and let them have a good chomping.
Yes, Professor.
They're in the other greenhouse. It's just at the end of the footbridge leading out of this room. Your classmate, Mr. Pruitt, has kindly offered to accompany you. Come back and see me when you're finished. Oh, and mind your fingers. They do bite.
Yeah, it's just speeded this up because I got lost
Saw you on your way
again.
from Hogsmeade the other day. Nice to meet you. I'm Leander. I'll be showing you the Chinese chomping cabbages. Up these stairs will take us there, but your lead. Nice work in Defense Against the Dark Arts, by the way.
Excuse me?
Your duel with Sebastian! And he's good. Thinks he's really good. But you outright slaughtered him. It was brilliant.
Oh. Well, thank you.
I nearly put Sebastian in his place myself. I mean,
And even
I
with a
would've
character leading
Hecat
me,
stop me.
Didn't she stop that
I'm
dragon skull
going
from
wrong.
crushing you?
Typical Slytherin trick, dropping a dragon skull on someone during a fight. We Gryffindors fight with honour. You know that, of course.
but I get back there eventually.
Here we are, home of the Chinese chomping cabbage. Go on, grab a few of those cabbages. Just mind your fingers. I almost got the thumb one. There, see that dummy? Just toss the cabbages at it, and they'll do the rest.
Herbology is actually really important in the game. I don't use the skills and items enough. I kind of focus on them towards the end, to be honest. And potions as well is really important. So if you're just starting to play the game, take more notice of it than I did. I've got to be honest.
I'm sorry. What do I need to do?
Garlic said she wanted you to have a go at tending the cabbages. Give them some time to chomp and whatnot. Nothing to it, really. Just toss some of those Chinese chomping cabbages out. You'll see fairly quickly why we call them that.
I get there in the end. I don't take too long. I do. It's terrible. I take far too long.
Look at that! They'll chomp on anything they can get their mouths on. Mum planted some in her garden last year to keep the gnomes out. Did save her the de-gnoming, but they left her honking daffodils in tatters. Vicious little bastards, aren't they? My kind of plants. Not like stupid booba tubers and bouncing bulbs. The kind of plants that just have your back in a fight. Not saying you can't go it alone, but, well, imagine that wasn't a dummy.
I suppose they could prove useful outside of the greenhouse. Nothing wrong with a bit of backup, even if it is from a cabbage.
It's chaos out there. Trolls in Hogsmeade and such. You can't be above throwing a cruciferous vegetable if necessary. Dogweed and deathcap has more of them, if you're keen. Other plants too. Ones your parents wouldn't plant in the garden. You get the idea. Anyway, we probably ought to head back to class.
As the
Take your
ginger
time.
gamer,
I'll see you back in class.
I am quite pleased with how many gingers there are in this game.
Dragon hides Love.
It's
I shall
very
end our lesson
satisfying.
here. Terribly sorry, Mr. Clopton.
And not just Weasleys.
Did you know that you can use the mandrake to defend yourself? Why, the very idea.
I tended to the Chinese chomping cabbages, Professor.
Remarkable plants, aren't they? I hope they weren't too much trouble. Oh, don't see any bite marks or missing digits. And good, as you do seem to be quite green-fingered. Oh, I'm eager to see your skill in the soil continue to blossom.
Magical plants have so much to offer. I'm eager to learn more.
I'm glad. Herbology is a bounteous subject. Tend to your garden, and it will tend to you. Huh. Well, I suppose that's everything. Do come by for a chat sometime. I so enjoy checking in with my new students.
Yeah, and as I've also said before, I am playing a good character. I'm trying to do the right thing and the good thing and the nice thing whenever. Sometimes it's a little ambiguous, but mostly I try and do that. Here I'm just going to fast forward time a little bit. I just hung around until this was ready to collect, really. I thought it was useful as it was there and free. I'd get the Dittany. For reasons that will come apparent later in the game, not that much later, I don't really come back to that table again to use it. And now we're off to Potions class. And again, I will just fast forward my way there.
I bet he knows more than he's letting on about the Goblin Rebellion.
Potions is one of the most challenging and hazardous subjects taught at this school. As 5th years, you will be required to reach new heights of both discipline and intellect. You will begin this term by brewing a Wiggenweld potion. Mr. Takar, can you tell us why this particular potion might come in handy?
Yes, Professor Sharp. The Wiggenweld potion can be used to sterilize and even heal a variety of injuries.
It can heal some injuries, but not all. Points for Ravenclaw. Before today's class is completed, each of you will have brewed a Wiggenweld potion of your own. You never know when you might need it. Please begin.
I really like how you make this potion.
Use a strong, even motion when crushing your ingredients.
And how you actually have to do some of the tasks.
Please be meticulous when adding powder to your potions. One errant sneeze could be disastrous.
And you don't really do this again when you make potions, which I'm quite sad about. I think it's quite interesting. I mean, I dare say it might have got quite boring after time, but then you have to wait for potions, when you make them. So you might as well do something.
I see most of you have not forgotten how to stir. Not an easy potion to brew. Well done. And from what I hear of your recent exploits in Hogsmeade, you'd also do well to practice brewing the defensive Edurus potion. Professor Weasley had you acquire the recipe from J. Pippins, correct?
Yes, sir.
Good. For the moment, you can find the ingredients you need in my office. But in the future, you'll be expected to provide your own ingredients. Some can be harvested from the plants you grow in your Herbology class, and rarer ones can be purchased. Others, however, may be harder to obtain, and will require you to be a bit more resourceful. Come and see me when you've finished brewing, and we'll see if it was skill or luck the first time round.
Professor Sharp, I think, in my playthrough anyway, it might be different if you're in a different house or you play differently. I think it's kind of underused.
My parents considered keeping me home from school this
He's
year
really
after the
interesting
rumours of the Goblin
character, but
I hear Professor
underused.
Sharp say that you have permission to go into his office.
He did say that. He wants me to get more ingredients to brew another potion.
Brilliant! You, my friend, have been presented with an extraordinary opportunity. You remember me, don't you? Gareth Weasley.
Ah, yes. We met in the common room.
Listen, anyone with a troll-sized brain can brew an Endurance potion. I'm working on something that's certain to be spectacular. I'm just missing one tiny last ingredient that will add that extra spark.
I suspect that's where I come in.
You're as clever as I'd hoped. I simply need a single Fwooper feather. As you'll already be in Sharp's office with his permission, perhaps you could grab it for me.
I'll get you the Fwooper feather, as long as you're certain Sharp won't miss it.
I assure you he won't. Fwooper feathers aren't that valuable. Wait until you see what I'm brewing. Hurry back to me when you have the feather.
He's certainly his descendant's ancestor, if that makes sense. Here's me, going to the wrong door. Getting a subtle reminder. Yeah, he's definitely a Weasley. I felt really guilty. I was really into doing a good playthrough, and then I took something that wasn't even in a plot device to take, like the feather, and felt guilty about it.
Revelio.
Your potion stations organised and free of clutter.
Here's the Fwooper feather you wanted.
Brilliant! Thank you! This is going to take a moment to brew. You should get back to brewing your Endurance potion, and I'll tell you when this concoction's finished.
And I felt it was more kind of mischievous than, you know, evil or bad to take the feather.
Cannot be rushed. Have patience and...
I speed this up a bit. You're doing what you do later on in potions, really, is you just sort of click on it, and if you've got the ingredients, you then just wait for it to cook itself, which is different to what you did the first time in this class, which I think is a bit of a shame, really. If you're going to have to hang around for 30 seconds, you might as well press a few buttons and pretend you're brewing. Edger's potion is actually really useful, and I don't use it until basically the end of the game. With no spoilers at all, I basically forget about it.
And now we add the Mallow Sweet, and... That's odd. What's happening? Wait, it's not supposed to... Ah!
Get it!
Dragon done! What happened?
Well done, Gareth.
Just a few hundred years, his descendants will be making dragons out of fireworks.
Sorry, Professor.
That'll be points from Gryffindor. Again. Mr. Weasley did not do this on his own. His accomplice will answer to me as well.
I brewed an Endurance potion as you asked, Professor.
I'm surprised you had the time. You seemed rather busy helping Mr. Weasley brew chaos.
I'm sorry, Professor. I was merely trying to help a friend.
Taking responsibility for one's actions does go a long way with me. I shall assume that you've learnt a lesson. As for the work you did today at your own cauldron, I will say you've done well. I confess I was skeptical given the advanced nature of this class and the fact you're a new student.
I'm glad I was able to meet your expectations.
A rare occurrence. And you do well to remember that you're not a potions master quite yet. In addition to having a solid grasp of how to combine various ingredients, you should gain an understanding of the ingredients themselves. Pay particular attention in herbology. The plants you nurture there are often essential to the potions you brew here. Now, I recommend that you find a safe location in which to practice brewing. You cannot leave a hot cauldron simply anywhere. That'll be all. I think each of us has had enough excitement for one day.
Professor Sharp must have learned a lot during his time as an Auror.
And of course, later in the game,
about it more.
you do get somewhere to have a cauldron and do your potions.
Sir Nicholas, our house ghost, is looking for you. You can find him near the Great Hall.
And the quest with St. Nicholas is really important to the whole game. It's not an optional side quest. And it forms the main part of this
It's me,
episode,
Gareth.
actually.
Do you have a moment?
Were you calling me, Gareth?
I was. After you helped me with that fupa feather and potions, I reckoned you might be just the person I need. You see, I have an idea for a fizzing Whizbee-inspired beverage, but I'm missing a key ingredient.
You and your concoctions. I don't know how you come up with these things.
It's a gift, truly. So, I suspect the key ingredient in fizzing Whizbees is dried billywig stings. I heard there's a store of them in Honeyduke's cellar. I'd get them myself, but my Aunt Matilda has her eye on me. Thinks I need to focus on potions class for a while, not my own brews. I was hoping you could follow a secret passage to Honeyduke's cellar and grab a few dried billywig stings for me.
Of course. You never know when you might need a quick means of escape from the castle.
Brilliant, thank you. But you should know that it's not exactly quick. It's the secret bit that's helpful. The passage is hidden behind the statue of a one-eyed witch in the 3rd floor corridor. Just tap it with your wand and say, Dissending.
I'll see what I can do, Gareth.
Fair enough. You shall be the first one to taste my newest brew if you can be of help. Perhaps I can convince a meat to help me with my potions homework. Get my aunt to loosen her reins a bit.
I'll need to get those dried billywig stings for Gareth if he's to finish his letter.
You there? Yes, you. I wonder if you might come with
A
me.
one-eyed witch statue shouldn't be... You wanted to see me, sir?
Yes, Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington, at your service.
Nice to meet you, Sir Nicholas.
I know about the book you found and its missing pages. I may be able to help. Follow me, if you will. It's not too far.
Wait, how do you know about the book? And that it's missing pages?
Word gets around amongst the ghosts. You were spotted with Mr. Sallow in the restricted section. Don't worry, your secret's safe with me.
Revelio.
This may be a leap, but I believe I know who ended up with those pages. I'd be happy to take you to him, if you'd be so kind as to perform a small favour for me along the way.
A small favour in exchange for getting those pages.
Yes, it's nothing really. I'd be grateful if you could simply go into the kitchen and procure a little rotten roast beef.
I beg your pardon. Roast beef. Rotten roast beef.
That is correct. Rotten roast beef. If one floats through it just right, one can almost taste it.
Ugh. I suppose I can do that. But why me?
It's simple, my young friend. My ghostly form cannot carry it. Now, if you'd be so kind as to collect the roast beef, I shall explain everything else in due course. Ah, here we are. Tickle the pear and head on in.
Did you say tickle the pear?
Yes, in the painting. I'll wait right here. Do try not to get in the way of the house elves. I'm already imagining sweet aroma of rotten roast beef.
A student
Never will
in the
understand
kitchen.
students.
What did
Plenty
they
of
want?
delicious food and what found themselves a bit peckish likely.
Certainly
how
makes
hungry
Rookie's
growing
job
humans
easier.
can get.
I really like the areas in this game, like this kitchen, are really, really big. They haven't just done a kind of token small room with nothing in it. It's a really big room with loads and loads of detail and loads of stuff in it, basically. So it really works and it's really functional. Rather than, in my playthrough,
Rebellion.
I don't know about anyone else's, I only came in this room once. So it's used very, very briefly for a very, very small part
It smells
of a
glorious.
quest. And yeah, it's amazing. It's such a well crafted world, such a detailed world.
Hello. Can you point me in the direction of the rubbish?
Towards the other end of the kitchen. If it's not taken out yet, just follow your nose. You'll find it soon enough.
Ugh, there's a disgusting smell. I must be getting close.
Oh, a student? What a treat! What can Finky get for you? A pumpkin pasty? Perhaps some Welsh rabbit?
Sounds lovely, but what I really need is this rotten roast beef.
Ah, Nick sent you, didn't he? Please help yourself. Finky supposes Nick's tired of loitering about simply to experience the faintest memory of the taste of food.
It was nice to meet you. Thank you for the beef.
Happy to help and to meet you as well. Please give Nick Finky's regards.
There's nothing like a meal prepared by a house elf.
Ah, you're back. No trouble, I take it?
Not at all. Finky sends her regards, along with the rotten roast beef.
Ah, glad to hear it. Kind elf for Finky. Now, let's get that beef to Sir Patrick Delaney Podmore, and you'll be one step closer to finding those pages.
This is all rather cryptic, Sir Nicholas. What's going on?
Terribly sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sir Patrick organises the Headless Hunt, a group of headless ghosts who gather for various, headless activities.
Headless activities?
Yes, you'll see. Anyway, I don't know how, but a member of that hunt, Richard Jackdaw, had the pages when he was alive. My plan is to take the rotten roast beef to Sir Patrick so that he'll allow me, us, to engage with the hunt and speak to Jackdaw. Shall we?
Very well. I'd like to meet Sir Patrick myself and see this headless hunt.
Ah, wonderful. You won't regret it.
I mean, I won't, but I'm obviously being slightly manipulated here by Nick. Not in a really bad way, but we're both both winning to a degree in this scenario. And it is quite an interestingly made quest, even if some of the game
You
mechanics
stay behind me. It's Sir Patrick we want.
don't really work.
Look who's here. What have we told you, nearly headless Nick?
Hello, Sir Ramsay. Do let us pass. We brought a little something for Sir Patrick.
Probably come to try to beg his way in again.
Do they always talk to you like that?
Ah, all in good fun. Once Sir Patrick lets me join the Headless Hunt, I'll be right there with them. This offering is sure to win him over.
Don't forget why I'm here, sir.
Rest assured, you'll have your information from young Jackdaw in no time. Wherever he may be.
What I'd give for a flagon of mead or a nice leg of lamb right about now. Then this party would be complete.
How about the next best thing, Sir Patrick?
Ah, Sir Nicholas. And a student. Who let you in?
We brought you a gift.
This is all very suspicious. What do you really want? As if I need to ask.
It's Richard Jackdaw. Where can we find him? May we speak to him?
Jackdaw, eh? Why, here he is now. What a shame. Without his head. I bet you've always wondered what that's like, eh, Nick?
Sir, you jest.
It's bound to be around here somewhere. Probably being used in a game. If you find it, I give you my permission to speak with him, my young mortal. It's the least I can do for you for bringing this putrescent gift home.
Sir, there's another matter I wish to discuss with you, if I may.
Tut, Sir Nicholas. How many times do I have to tell you? Our entry requirements are quite clear.
But, sir,
we aren't the Headless except for a little bit of tendon hunt, after all. Now, please, follow me and I shall help you find your way out.
Farewell, my young friend. Perhaps your luck with these chaps will be better than mine.
I do find it funny. There's this elitism about whether you've really completely lost your head or not. Obviously, it was part of the books, but I do find it quite funny.
I'd say he's in over his head this time.
I do get a little lost, as usual, around the graveyard.
Ironic, really.
Who will be next to play our little game of hide and seek amongst the pumpkins?
Hello again. Can you help me?
Ah, Sir Nicholas's young friend. Has he abandoned you?
Not at all. I need to speak to Richard Jackdaw. Sir Patrick said his head might be around here somewhere.
Indeed it might be. It is a bit unorthodox to include a mortal, but if you do wish to speak with him... Oh, why not? You can speak with Jackdaw if you can find his head amongst these pumpkins. Not just once, but 5 times. Good old Dumfrey will move the head to a different spot each time you find it. Those are the rules. What say you?
If that's what I need to do to speak to Jackdaw, I'll do it.
Marvellous! Of course, a mortal holding a wand has an advantage over us ghosts. You can simply blast away to your heart's content. Remember, the game's not over until you find him 5 times. Begin!
I've got to be honest.
Cast away until you find him.
For a game that I think has some really interesting side quests that fit into story and have a kind of purpose, this is a little bit of a contrivance, really. And, you know, for things like you've got to find him 5 times. Now, I'm not just saying that because it took me ages to remember to use Revelio and to work out exactly how you're meant to do it, which is why I've sped this up, which I'm not super proud of. But even so, I still think it was somewhat of a contrivance and a little out of keeping with how well set into the world most of the side quests and activities you had to do were, really.
Why did I come back here?
And especially as this whole quest is a really significant and absolutely vital part of the overall story. Yeah. I remember eventually.
Is it over yet? Are we still going?
Who would have thought a mortal would be so good at this? You've almost got him.
Revelio.
But I do make a meal of it entirely. But eventually do it. I've sped that up, as you can probably tell, and edited it, because I wandered around shooting every pumpkin for ages.
Not too bad for a mortal. Now, say what you need to say to old Jackdaw here, You've earned it.
Nicely done. But what's going on? You're not a member of the Headless Hunt.
No, I'm not. Sir Nicholas said you might know the location of some pages I'm looking for.
Merlin's beard. I know precisely the ones you mean. I pinched them from Peeves. How could I forget? The map on those pages led me to my demise. I was not ready for what awaited me in that cave. The pages are likely still mouldering away with my, remains. Quite a final adventure, I must confess.
The pages are why you lost your head, and I must visit a cave and search for your corpse.
Yes. You'd think a decapitated ghost would get used to the word corpse. Say, here's an idea. Why don't you meet me at the edge of the Forbidden Forest, and I'll show you where to go?
I need those pages, so I suppose I'd better meet you. Thank you.
Not to worry. I'll just need to be reunited with my body first, but Dumfries can handle that. See you at the forest's edge.
Yeah, so though there's a number of separate quests, they're all about finding the missing pages and they link up. Some aren't doable until you learn other skills and completed other quests. And so I basically at this point set out to complete all of those quests. I don't need to do all of them, but I set out to do all of those quests. Some are key and some are side quests.
Future champion coming through.
But part of it is returning to this.
Hello, Lucan. I'd like to practice with the training dummy.
Excellent idea. This time will be a bit more of a challenge. Ready?
That'd be brilliant.
Wonderful. I'll set things up. Remember to cast all the spell combinations before the dummy lands again. If you need to stop practicing before you finish all of them, let me know.
And I'm not perfect this time, but I'm a lot better than I was last time. If you've watched previous episodes, I was embarrassingly bad at this. For no reason. A bit like I'm doing now, but much worse. And I do get better. Quite quickly this time.
Incendio. Leviosa.
And I would say, completing this, normally I don't do the practice and especially the repeated tutorial kind of aspects of games, but I found this actually really useful and I would recommend it. I found it did really help my combat.
Incendio.
Excellent form.
Although, as I said, not perfect.
Incendio. Leviosa. Accio. Incendio.
Although looking back, I must say, I didn't learn all the lessons it was teaching me.
Impressive wand work. I'd hate to face you in a duel.
Thanks, Lucan. You've been a great help.
Oh, stop. Don't make me blush. Seriously, well done. Training dummies will think twice before challenging you again. Plus, you'll be even more formidable in crossed wands. Other duelists had better beware.
Hello, Lucan. Is the final round of cross wands ready?
Big match today. It all comes down to this. The moment that we find out if your training and dedication is enough to win it all. Ready for a shot at glory?
I certainly am.
Brilliant. Are you dealing with a partner?
I'll go it alone.
Then let's get started.
I mean, that's not an impossible task I've set myself, but
That's the spirit.
I probably should have chosen a partner.
Levioso. Levioso. Confringo. Protego. Stupefy. Levioso. Stupefy. Come on. Levioso. Stupefy.
And yeah, I'm still button mashing, but it's interesting looking back because I'm button mashing less and less. And the game is teaching and I am very slowly learning in spite of its excellent efforts. I do not use RB and then the RB and LB combination as much as I should. Sometimes deliberately, but mostly I miss out on opportunities by not using it. I would definitely recommend using it a lot more than I do. You probably do if you're a half decent gamer. Now, as you can see, I don't do brilliantly in my first attempt.
They made a crap's breakfast out of you that round. Care to try again?
Yes, I'm ready now.
Very well. Good luck out there.
But I get right back on the horse. Mainly because I need to complete this for the overall progress through the game.
Levioso. Stupefy. Stupefy. Protego.
Yeah, I could be clicking on RB and throwing objects at them as well, which would be very useful. And I completely ignore it. She's very kindly not attacking me yet, which is good of her.
Levioso. Stupefy. Levioso. Come on. Protego. Stupefy. Levioso. Stupefy.
That was one of the few times where the camera doesn't really work properly, but by and large the camera's excellent in this game, and occasionally your character will go transparent if it would otherwise be blocking you, which is really useful. And lots of those kind of little things that in other games can be difficult, like I've said, you know, following NPCs and them following you and things like that, are generally problem free in this game, which is really good. I do like that the students watching are behind these gates, which, unless they're enchanted, which I suppose they might be, wouldn't really protect them from errant spells. But yeah, it's a nice touch anyway. And I win.
Glad I didn't bet on that round.
It was easy.
What a victory! You've won the tournament!
I'm just pleased to have done as well as I did.
And we're pleased to have such a gracious champion. Now, to the victor goes the prize! And so it is my great honour to present you with this simple yet elegant token of supreme dueling accomplishment.
Thank you. It's been an honour.
You earned it. You are a duelist to be reckoned with. Now that we've definitively crowned the tournament winner, I suppose I should get back to my schoolwork. Wonder how my herbology plants are doing. I haven't tended them in ages.
Now, as you can see, there's 2 things I needed to complete, and one of them was evading an enemy by rolling, and I'm at 9 out of 10 in Professor Hecat's assignments, and I have to go and do something else to get that up, which is a little annoying.
This looks like the right statue.
But first I go and do Gareth Weasley's
What was the password?
quest. Which, like many of the little you think are going to be small side quests, I've actually had a lot more work devoted to them by the devs than
Who knew this was all
I would
down there?
always expected them to have been given.
A lift? Must be how I get down. Looks broken though.
Back to my favourite spell, Reparo.
Reparo.
One thing I say as I work through this playthrough, this was about 3 hours of playing that I've condensed. Maybe not 3 hours, maybe nearer 2 hours of playing. No, nearer 3 hours of playing that I've condensed.
That seems to have done the trick.
Now you will see as I play along some cuts that are a little janky, and that will be where I've gone to take a comfort break, basically. And so I've paused it and then I've tried to edit it together seamlessly, and it hasn't always worked. So if you think something looks a little hokey, it's not like I've cut out unsuccessful attempts or things like that. It's when I've gone for a comfort break and then
This castle will never cease to surprise
then
me.
tried to join it back up. I do like this. This is quite a Skyrim-y kind of dungeon, and as someone who's the main RPG I've played quite a lot of RPGs, but the main RPG, I know purists aren't that big of a fan of Skyrim, RPG purists. Skyrim's probably the RPG I've set the most hours to.
Incendiary.
And also, you always know that fire burns spider webs as well. Yeah, there was a little comfort break edit. It was absolutely seamless. No one could ever say my editing's poor. Now, what you can see on that wall by that
If I could
shape
have this platform, I think I could get it to
is
work.
it's got a kind of texture on that looks climbable, a bit like the old back in the day 90s Tomb Raider. There's just that look on that texture, the way it's kind of a bit sort of, I can't think of the word, I want to say granular, but that's not the right word. Gives you a hint that it's climbable. And in keeping the Tomb Raider theme, there's a jump here that I wasn't entirely convinced I could jump and that was short enough, but I did it anyway. And this one as well, I didn't think. And this is a nice combination of Reparo and a bit of Accio as well. Once I've chosen it.
Leviosa.
Sorry, not Accio, Leviosa. Again, I wasn't 100% sure of this jump, but did it anyway, and it was fine. Again, even in these caves and dungeons, there's a ton of detail, like there is in the school, and in the the grounds around the school and the general countryside.
Incendio.
I never get the impression at any point during this game that any area or a small part of an area has been half-assed by the devs. it's all full and done with seemingly a lot of love and care, really.
One more to go and I'll make it across. Repair. Leviosa! Something is getting in the way of that platform.
Yeah, I just sped this up. It took me a little while to work out. I don't think it really helps you to show how badly I did this. But I didn't want to hide it completely, so I've just sped it up. Yeah, and you just move that out of the way, really, and then you can move that platform up.
Aha, got it. Accio!
And I thought that was too far, so that's why I was trying to Accio it. But actually it's not. Actually you can jump it.
This must be the way out. I need to find a way to open that gate. Revelio.
Now, when I played this, I kind of knew straight away what you had to do, because it is kind of obvious. And I don't know why it took me so long to actually do it, because I think I was thinking maybe there's a sort of pressure pad puzzle, but I kind of knew I had to set fire to them. And I don't know why. I'm not sure why I'm echoing that. That's me button mashing again.
Something smells sweet.
But this
must be close to
this quest, and like a lot of the side quests, they're not just kind of random, world building or filling side quests. They actually teach you something for other quests you're then going to come to in the game. So that's why you don't have to do every side quest, and it's not vital, but doing side quests is quite important, if only just developing your kind of skills in gameplay, really.
Honeydukes.
And again, I was a little unsure if this was
I can smell the chocolate.
Pushing the mischievous into
where would
the
I find
bad,
the dried billywig stings for Gareth?
as I was trying to be good. I think this is probably pushing the mischievous to its limit, really, because you are stealing from a
I
shop.
have the dried billywig stings. Now back to Gareth. I can only imagine how his new recipe's going to turn out.
Now, like lots of RPGs, especially open world RPGs and RPGs with caves and dungeons, very often you'll find a shortcut back to where you want to be. And sometimes in this game you get that. And then sometimes in this game you don't. You have to go all the way back. Or at least almost all the way back that you did before. But I've shortcutted it for you, so you didn't have to.
Hello again. Were you able to get the honeydukes?
Hello, Gareth. I have those dried billywig things.
You got them! Incredible.
Happy to help. Here you go.
This is brilliant! Can't wait to get started. Thank you again. I'll let you know when I brewed my first batch of fizzing whizbeer.
Just when I think I've learned how to get around the castle, a staircase...
Yes, that's the little side quest complete. And I was just working through the quest. Now, that one I don't think I needed to do to open up other things. But there's something I need to do. To successfully avoid enemy attacks by dodge rolling. I need another one. I dodge rolled a lot in the battles. In the cross wands battles. But not quite enough. Now, just for more completeness than I usually show, I'm just going to finish this quest that I started earlier. And again, this quest is useful for what it teaches you about moths in the game and light. It is well, that's I was going to say that's all I'll say, but that's most of what I should say.
What could be so special about it?
I miss it a little bit, but my own narration solves it a little bit for me.
Revelio.
But again, I just take ages to work this stuff out. Absolutely ages. And then I remember light, because I'm an utter genius, and I get there in the end.
Lumos.
Ish, anyway.
Let's get you back to your frame, little
Fortunately, you don't have to stand that close to the moth to attract it. It comes and gives you a little hint.
Perhaps I need to keep casting Lumos on it.
Yes, you do. Well done.
I'd be glad if they let us convene at 3.
I knew there was a connection. I should tell Lenora that I solved the puzzle of that empty frame.
I've got to be honest, sometimes I just did quests as I fancied them, or finished them. I didn't really do them in a logical order every time.
Of that painting.
You did? How?
I found the location depicted in the painting, and then I cast Lumos to guide a moth back to the frame.
All very logical, I suppose. Pity I was so close to solving it. You have a knack for solving riddles. Natty's good at that too. So is Meat, although he does tend to over-explain. Well, I'm glad someone figured it out. The moth! I should have seen that.
Yeah, she was a little grumpy at me helping her. Right, so now before I can do the next part of the quest that's concerned with finding the pages, I have to just get that 10th roll, avoiding an enemy. And I thought, where's the best place to find an enemy? If you want to find an enemy quickly, it's the Forbidden Forest. So I headed straight to the Forbidden Forest and thought, I'll definitely be able to run in there and find an enemy, do a dodge roll, finish that requirement, and then be able to do the quest. So that's what I do. I'm not sure it's the best idea, I'll be honest. But I just paused to collect some stuff that I don't think I ever use again. But anyway, I wasn't sure it was entirely the best idea, but it was the first thought I had. I'd missed the chance when dueling, and I thought, this will do. I'm bound to walk into an enemy if I stroll around in the Forbidden Forest for more than a couple of seconds. And then all I've got to do is do a dodge roll, and life's good. So I've waited until I've got one suitably aggroed with me, and then do a dodge roll. There we go.
Yes.
Done. And then I absolutely wind up that enemy and then run away. Because my work is done. And then I can go and do Professor Hecat's second assignment and learn Exellaramus, which is quite important. As it will open up the rest of the main quest that I'm pursuing.
Professor, I wondered, did you attend Hogwarts?
I did. I am a proud member of Ravenclaw House. Why do you ask?
I was curious as to how Hogwarts has changed over the years.
I see. Well, the castle itself, as I'm sure you have surmised, is full of surprises. I dare say more than the staircases change around here. As for the students, well, they seem to get more capable every year. Although, we got up to just as much mischief in my day as you seem to now. I used to look the other way at all sorts of roguery when I was head girl. I can tell you, however, that I did once admonish a certain Phineas Nigellus Black for enjoying a sugar quill during a lecture.
I hadn't realised that you and Professor Black were, students here together.
Appearances can be deceiving. You see, I was once wounded by time itself.
I think that's a lovely little touch in the story.
Time itself? I never would have imagined such a thing.
Ah, well, it was the risk I took with my prior position. You may or may not have heard that I was an unspeakable at the Ministry for years.
An unspeakable? What does...
As you might suspect, I cannot speak about what we did. Suffice it to say, the job was not without its hazards. Now, I hope I've satisfied your curiosity for the moment.
You have. Thank you for speaking with me, Professor.
Keep up with your wand work. One must always be prepared for mischief, both inside and outside of the castle.
And that's kind of a little side touch because I'm a bit early to start this next bit. I have to wait till I have to attend the class. And I think I said in the last episode, you don't really attend classes properly. You just get a little flavour of them. She's a very important character that you'll meet properly later on. In fact, most of the people in the class that you attend, who are with you in the classes you attend, are kind of key, or you meet along the way. And with that done, I can go and talk to her about more important
I
things.
hope you were able to take care of everything I had.
Professor, I completed all of your most recent assignments.
Well done. Then you're ready to learn Expelliarmus. Pay close attention. The disarming charm may often be all you need to defeat the most powerful dark witches and wizards you might encounter. Spellcasting requires a focused mind and a steady wand. Good work. The dummy is here if you wish to stay and practice.
And now, as you can see, because I've completed that, I can then go to Jackdaw's Rest quest and complete that as well. That's now open to me. Although I'm not sure I use Expelliarmus. But that's my fault rather than the game's. I do actually practice it on this poor unsuspecting dummy.
You seem to have the right end of the stick, but keep practicing. Expelliarmus may save your life one day.
And then just randomly beat it up for no reason. Because I can.
Expelliarmus!
Still at it, I see.
Right, and now Jackdaw's Rest is open to me, as is Summoner's Court Match 1, which I think I do play later. It's not my favourite part of the game, I'll be honest. Then back to the Forbidden Forest. I do use, as you can see and tell, the Flu network more and more as the game progresses. I stopped trying to learn the castle and just crack on and use the Flu network. I love the graphics in this game, I have to admit. And I haven't played all of Unreal 4 games, but I think it's one of the better looking Unreal 4 games. And obviously I'm a bit early because it's not night, so you get to do the wait thing again, which is useful, although a little silly.
Here I am, as good as my word.
We meet again, Richard Jackdaw.
I suppose I shouldn't be surprised to see you. Just like a Gryffindor to brave the Forbidden Forest in pursuit of adventure.
Well said. Now where do we go from here?
Follow me. I shall lead you as far as I can, but I fear I may remain a tad reluctant to revisit the scene of my demise. Keep your eyes open for a bird bath. When you find it, say Intramuros. I think it's Latin. Or Greek. As you can imagine, I never paid much attention in school. Shall we?
I feel he could have given me a little warning of what I was about to
Aside
face.
from the bird bath, anything else I should look for?
Indeed. A few landmarks, a stone bridge, a waterfall, and, if I recall, a lake. You'll see.
You've been very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, it could have been a little more helpful.
Surprising how much of this is...
Although I don't know what I would have done
unfortunately coming
differently
back to
if he
me.
had told me.
Yes. You know, the closer we get, the more I'm remembering. Probably best I leave you to it. Simply stick to the path and keep a sharp eye out for that bird bath. Adieu. Is that Latin? Or Greek?
I can't remember why I made myself invisible then. I kind of had this obviously ominous feeling there was going to be something nefarious around the corner, but it was pretty pointless. I think as I remember, I make quite the meal of beating this Thornback matriarch. I mean, it's relatively tough in terms of the enemies you face so far, especially when I forget to dodge. In terms of the enemies faced so far, it's relatively tough. As a side note, if for anyone who's watched my Quake mods preview, I made a Quake mod that was nothing like Quake, and it had giant spiders in. And this is what I was trying to do with them in that mod. But I digress heavily. But go back and watch them. It's amazing work. My tongue is in my cheek as I speak.
Incendio. Accio. Incendio.
That ghost seems very unbothered by the spider, but then of course he would be, because there's nothing the spider can do to him now.
Revelio. Levioso. Incendio. Stupefy.
And again, I'm still button mashing, but it's getting less and less. It's not to say I'm always accurate, but just, randomly hitting the buttons and hoping for the best is getting less.
Levioso. Incendio. Incendio.
Without spoiling anything, if you are an arachnophobe, this is probably not the best part of the game for you. I do use the LBRB then, I do remember, quite successfully, and it saves a whole lot of bother. Yeah, if you're arachnophobe, it's not going to be... It's not terrible, but it's not going to be really, really enjoyable for you. These kind of caught me, these little ones, because often there's little spiders that are running around and you don't really interact. They're kind of, not exactly jump scares, but they're kind of to put you off, even though where they are is the right way for you to go. But those little ones actually went for you as well, and it kind of surprised me.
Incendio.
So I'm taking great delight in setting fire to their webs.
Incendio.
Now the excitement music was on here. So often in games when the music gets all excited, you think something's about to happen. And I don't know if that was just kind of residue from the spiders. I'm not sure.
The waterfall. For a thief, Jackdaw's surprisingly as good as his word.
And you can hear voices as well. So I kind of go invisible and creep along. I mean, I think in hindsight, I probably could have taken those enemies on, but I decide to stealth my way past, really. Which is not always a bad thing. It's a little bit cowardly. It's not very exciting for viewers. Although I'm not sure my combat is that exciting for viewers. But yeah, I do a bit of stealth and sneak past. You just get spook that poor animal. Again, this environment is really beautifully made, which is obviously a consistent theme. And then there's the centaurs, which again, without spoiling the game for you, you meet properly later on. You don't just see them from afar. And that at random out, just wandering along, I'm not sure if I could have interacted with it, but it's just a lovely touch just to be thrown in there. Well, it didn't have to. It's got all these kind of particly, which I guess are kind of firefly things. It's got all these lovely touches, and then
something oddly solemn about this place. Such regal creatures, stags.
It's just a wandering owl. It's beautifully done.
There it is, just as Jackdaw described. Intramuros.
I'm glad my character's got a better memory than I have. Because if I had to remember that word and then say it, I would have forgotten it. I'd be pausing every 5 minutes to write things down. Ooh.
Aren't you a little far from home?
Renrock knew you'd eventually...
As somebody who was born in London, which you might be able to tell every now and again when I talk, I don't like that the bad guys are these ruffian cockney types. I think that's very stereotypical. These are relatively easy enemies to fight. They're easier than the spiders, that's for sure. Or I found them easier.
No risk those loyalists will report back to Ranrock now.
Again, although I criticise my own
Jackdaw has led me.
combat, I do think the combat in the game is really good. I enjoy it. It's very satisfying. And especially as you get better at it, it becomes even more satisfying. Into his tomb, which I imagined would be a relatively short affair, but isn't. It's quite a lot of work, which is great. It's more gameplay and it's more work the devs have put in.
Revelio.
And again, just to repeat myself, I do have
how big this place is.
I do have a couple of comfort breaks as I work through this, which is where you might see some dodgy edits. Again, without 100%ing the game, I do try and collect things when they're obvious and they're right by me. And very often, as you work through these sort of areas, there'll be little side rooms. Sometimes big.
These rooms must have something to do with opening this door.
Sometimes small, that if you go into, you'll usually find something that'll be off the kind of main path. So it's always worth exploring. And I exactly knew what to do here, and I still can't work out
But it doesn't stay lit for long.
why I didn't pick up on it straight away. I work it out second time though, so that's good.
Impressive. That must be where all this leads.
I do like this relatively old school, showing you other parts of the level where things are happening and changing. I do like that. That's a nice touch.
Someone didn't want casual visitors down here.
I'm not sure I like it when my character gets a bit quippy. I don't know.
I wonder if any of my spells will help me through this.
I do think there's a video on YouTube about how your character in Hogwarts Legacy is a bit of a sociopath, which I think is overstating it a little bit, but He does get a bit calmly quippy at times in the game. I'm not sure I'm that much of a fan of. And again, I'm watching this and I'm screaming, use LBRB. Come on. And I don't. And also dodge when it's literally telling you where you're about to get attacked from.
Incendio.
And as I said before, sometimes I'm saving the LBRB for something more difficult. And sometimes I'm just missing that I could be using it. And it doesn't help to save it because you do kind of charge it up relatively quickly. Right, and as I was talking about earlier, there's almost always a side room of some description, and this is quite a big side room. But it's off the path, it's not the route you have to go in, and there are quite a lot of enemies in it, but usually this kind of room, you'll find something good, you'll find some loot. Whether it's cash or whether it's an article of clothing or something to collect. Now what I like there is, when you're crouched, you can't do your normal spells, but I could do LBRB. I don't know if that's what it's meant to be called, LBRB. It's when you use your ancient magic attacks. But you could use your LBRB in that situation, which was very useful. Although slightly confusing as why the spiders haven't spotted.
I'm not going to touch those. Ugh.
But I am going to randomly attack them and kill them because I want to get to that chest at the end. Obviously doing this kind of thing, clearing a room just for a chest when you don't really need to, is always a risk because you might use up potions, you might get killed. You never really have to go that far back in Hogwarts Legacy. Sometimes you barely go back at all. So that's not too much of a risk. But, there's always a cost or potential cost to doing it. So you're always weighing that up to what you might actually find. It's not like some games where you use ammo, you might use arrows or whatever. Spells just charge up again free of charge really, so there's not really a cost in that sense. Yes, I finally used LBRB again. I'm kind of getting in the swing of using it. I did quite enjoy that part actually. Certainly in larger rooms, this is true in most games with combat. When you're in a larger room, it tends to be easier anyway. You've got more spaces to dodge to, and it just feels easier if nothing else. And yeah, it's always better to pick things up than not, I find. So I'm collecting all the spider fangs. And, most of this stuff will come in useful in potions or in other aspects of the game. So it's always worth doing. And then I run back out of here and then I'm back on the main kind of path and jump down there. Why I did it straight away is I did think it was the main bit, but I wasn't sure if when you jump down here, you can get back up. I think it's clear you can. Some drops you can climb back up and some you can't, depending on their height and the texture really. Yeah, and yet more spiders. As I said, it's not a great level for arachnophobes. Or for people who can't work out when to dodge. Which, I think it's clear I am getting better, but I'm taking my own sweet time to get better at it. I did enjoy that though. That was good fun. Just LBRB, come on. There we go.
There's a victory that came none too soon. Ugh. Another puzzle. Well, if Jackdaw could solve this, so could I.
And there's obviously just not two. And what's interesting here is I'm looking for
the next symbol is hidden somewhere.
the third one.
Revelio.
And I do Revelio, and then I look up, and there it is, and I completely miss it. So I run round for a bit, utterly failing, and then eventually spot it. But why I missed it the first time, I don't know. And then I quite stylishly hit them all, I thought. Not my gameplay was stylish, the characters' animation. And this is, another example of a smaller sort of side room, as it were, or area, and you can pick up some cash. So, it's always worth exploring, especially when it's risk-free like that space, and you're not likely to get lost either because it's not really far off your path. And see, there's those small spiders again, but they're not really attacking. I'm a bit wary of them now. In fact, you kind of have to follow where they're going. That's the path you need to head on.
It's a good thing Jackdaw didn't fall down there.
No, I got to be honest, I don't enjoy these platforms and echoing. I don't know why, I didn't really enjoy it as a puzzle. I mean, it's not super difficult to work out, I just, I think there's always some aspects in games, some of the mechanics you enjoy more than others, really. Yeah, and more spiders. Yeah, and I'm really missing using RB to throw objects because it's such a free attack. When obviously, you have your basic spell, but most of your spells have to recharge and things like that. And just throwing objects around the game is such a free and easy attack for you. And I do, again, something else I get better at as well. I do use it, but early on I didn't, and more for me really. And also I forgot to dodge. That spider does not enjoy being on fire. Incendio is an interesting spell. I mean, it gets better. You can add things to it. No spoilers, but a spoiler of sorts. You can add things to it that improves it, but it isn't. You do have to be relatively close to use it. And I'm forever using it when I'm too far away, which is again my fault, not the game's. I love suspending things and then going back to them. That's always quite satisfying. I mean, I did actually dodge and Protego quite well then, and then utterly forget to dodge that time. Which, I let the side down. The side being me, obviously. Again, I've talked about the environments and the graphics and the look, but the animation in this game is really good as well. It's really good. Not just on the people. I mean, some of the facial animation occasionally goes a bit uncanny valley, but most of the time is really good. But the animation on the creatures as well is really, really good. I'm just looking for things to pick up here, that's why I'm taking my time. And again, never turn down a free chest. I think I'm right in saying, certainly, in this playthrough.
A skeleton in sight. But I may as well help myself to this.
I don't think anything bad happens when I open a chest. There's no kind of trap chests. Yeah, that was a comfort break. Edit. not always well timed, I must confess. You know, and as I've pointed out as well during this playthrough, I get lost quite a lot, and this isn't a game that's that hard in terms of finding your way, actually. So I don't think the layout of the levels is that confusing, to be honest. But it does seem to be for me, and predictably, more spiders. Again, we've got a nice big open area, which is useful. And yes, LBRB, Andy, come on. And it is a really satisfying piece of combat to use when you LBRB. Is there a proper word for it? If you know, stick it in the comments. It's used in ancient magic, but I call it LBRB, and I'm going to continue until someone gives me a really good argument why I shouldn't be. But yeah, LBRB.
Incendio. Incendio. Levioso. Incendio.
Yeah, that was good fun.
Not my fault you're a deadly great spider.
But no, there's more and there's bigger. Because there always is. More. A number of matriarchs thrown at you. When I've got to be honest, I did find them quite difficult in the forest on their own. But you got a much bigger space, which should make it easier if I do the right thing, which is dodge, use LBRB when I can, use Incendio when you're close up. I did technically dodge and let them attack themselves then. I don't think it really hurt the other spider, but it was quite interesting. And then I blocked my copywork by utterly forgetting to dodge.
Incendio. Incendio. Levioso.
Come on, LBRB. I'm frustrating myself here by not using it and by not dodging. Go on. Nope. Just not doing it. Refuse. It's too easy. It's too much of a shortcut and I refuse to take it. It's not the case at all. I just utterly miss it because I'm paying more attention to dodging poorly than I am to using all the mechanics I've got to offer. Luckily, I've got Wiggenweld Potion, which is, you know, my best friend in the game. See, I was waiting for my spell to kind of recharge, as it were, and I had LBRB, which I used then, but I should have used on the big one. And you know, RB is coming up lots for me to use.
Spiders have multiplied since Jackdaw came this way.
I think I nailed that little edit then, if you spotted it. I think I did that edit well, so much so that I should stop pointing it out. Again, I know this mechanic by now. Why I'm getting confused is hopefully not as annoying to you as it is to me watching it back. But yeah.
I need to look around for the symbol.
Yeah. I think it's always slightly shaming when your own character has to point out to you what you need to do. Again, see, I got confused with that item on the wall there. That I thought that was the other one, but it wasn't. But yeah. I think I've been a little bit lazy here, really, just kind of hoping it's within easy eye shot, and it's clearly not. It's clearly not. And it is just like in the very first episode of this playthrough, part 1.
Perhaps the next symbol is hidden somewhere.
I was just randomly firing like I did at pottery in part 1. But I luck out and find it. And I want to stay back here because it's easier to hit the other ones, but it won't target it until I move a little closer. Which means I've got to wiggle around here to get that one in time. And I nail it. And, you know, the spiders are behind us.
Must be getting closer to Jackdaw's remains and those pages.
But there's some ominous figures ahead, though. But before that, Jackdaw's corpse, which is, you know,
We
sad.
meet again, Richard Jackdaw. Thank you for keeping these pages safe all these years.
And I think that kind of quippy remark is why.
Here it is. The map that brought your doom, Jackdaw. Is there something beyond this room?
Is why he's getting your character in this game is getting the sociopath tag, which I think is inaccurate as much as anything. But now this would be a really good time for me to show off all that I've learnt. So keep an eye and dodge. You'll be shown by a marking on the floor. No, failed at that. To use Y and Protego when you need to. I did that. I'm getting better at that. And to use LBRB whenever it's useful. Let's see how well I do at that. I've picked up on the dodging. And yeah, Y, I'm getting used to Protego and I'm doing that properly. So my combat is improving to some degree. Random Incendio. And there's LBRB, my chance. And I use it straight away, so that's good. But my dodging is still poor, in spite of all the warnings. And again, no. I get wrapped up in attacking one and I completely miss the other. Pensive Protector. Who's not super tough. Again, especially if I remember to I just clearly want to kill other things. As long as I remember to dodge, it's fairly... I think I do alright. Stop trying to kill the other ones. Sorry. Utterly frustrating myself. And dodging is actually really easy. You know, he doesn't... Once he takes off, he lands where he lands. Once you move out of that circle, he's not going to be able to adjust where he lands then. Yeah, that was bad dodging. So he's up, so just roll out of there. And he's then relatively vulnerable to you. That was a nice dodge. As was that. So get in there. Get in there, I think. I'll give myself a D+ as a grade. And these two do wake up now. Yeah, I think I think at this moment my combat is definitely improving, and I am kind of watching out more for landing zones and dodging when the bee happens, and yeah, it's working. And you know, in fairness to the game, if you get it right, it rewards you with some, you know, really satisfying combat, to be fair. You know, there's no, see, LBRB, come on, and I do it, which is very satisfying. You know, there's no tricks. It doesn't change the rules on you. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I still have slight stress after the final boss. Again, if you know, you know, but if you don't, I'm not going to spoil it any more than that. But I don't think it's unfair, in fairness. I think it sets its rules in terms of combat, and it mostly keeps to them. Well, I'd say almost 100% keeps to them. And that was a nice satisfying ending to that.
But that's unnerving. What's happening?
I'm kind of looking for pickups at the moment, and there isn't really anything, which is a shame. But I'm looking for it anyway, because it's always good form in RPGs to do that, really, even if we're not 100%ing it.
I've seen this before. In Gringotts and the restricted section.
Character prompting you nicely there, but for once I didn't need it.
Where am I? Oh no, the room's starting to flood.
I really like this bit, even though it's not really that significant in the whole game as a mechanic. I just think it's really interesting that they just threw this bit in. You're kind of suddenly underwater.
Magic protects me until I'm able to make my way out of here.
And you're automatically protected. You don't really do anything. But I think it's just that sense you're in a magical world where anything can happen. And this is a really significant room in the game, and a bit of a hub for you as the game goes on. And you to be fair, you have more than one hub in this game. But in terms of the main quest, this is super significant. And a really well, again, I talk about the visuals a lot when I play this. It's just beautiful at times, and really impressive what happens in this room, I think anyway. There's 4 spaces there for portraits, and the backgrounds are forming. And you know, you can probably guess whose portraits they are.
Can it be?
It's you.
Has someone finally found our map chamber?
I recognise you from the Pensives. You're Professor Rackham.
I am indeed. I must confess that I am surprised to see someone so young standing before me.
I'm the same age that you and Isadora Morganach were when you started at Hogwarts.
You've paid attention, and might I presume you share our ability?
To see traces of ancient magic? Yes, sir, I do.
As you have likely realized by now, our ability gives us a unique relationship with all forms of magic. We can access expressions of magic that few others can. Opportunities will arise that allow you to sharpen this rare talent. Do not squander them.
I won't, Professor. Thank you.
We have much to discuss. But first, a map found in a certain book led you here. Place the book on the pedestal.
I don't have the book with me, sir.
That is unfortunate. I'm afraid we must pause our conversation until you return with the book.
I'm a bit confused, sir. Why is this room called the map chamber?
I assure you that all will be clear once the book has been placed on the pedestal.
The statues and carvings in the house on the cliffside, those are of you. Are you a seer?
I am.
Did you know that I would be here?
I cannot say more at present, except to say that your presence here does not entirely surprise me.
Very well. I'll retrieve the book right away.
Good. We shall speak again once the book is in place.
Now, you can be really strategic in applying these talent points. To start with, I probably don't do them brilliant in the game, but to start with, I just focus on core stuff. Because I thought I spent a little bit longer than I'm showing here looking through them. But I just think applying the first 5 that you get at this stage just to the core stuff is the best option. That was my choice anyway. That dodge and dash is really useful as time goes on. Which is kind of ironic for somebody who's awful at dodging. But yeah, I found it really useful.
I found the pages and the map chamber. Why would I need the book?
I would say as we've just been for a loading screen. The loading screens are quite quick. I mean, I haven't got the best computer in the world. It's not awful, but not the best. But loading screens, what little there are, are actually quite quick. It doesn't take you out of the game too much. Now I'm just running through here because my character hasn't quite picked up on it, but you are back in Hogwarts.
I'm back at Hogwarts.
Well done. Yes, you are.
When Professor Fig will be back. I did promise him I wouldn't neglect my studies while he was away. Suppose I have enough to distract myself with till he returns with the book.
Yes, it's the game prompting you to just get on with life in the school until you can get back on the main quest, really. Right, so I'm getting to the end of this playthrough for today. It's been a long one, but I really wanted to get it. And there's a lovely little quest that I will pick up. So we do get into flying in the next episode. We also go back to Hogsmeade, we visit the railway station, and most significantly, we find a really, really important room.
You need to learn Depulso, the banishing charm. Useful for pushing objects or adversaries away. Complete the required tasks and meet me in my classroom.
Anyway, thank you very much for watching and seeing through this episode. I really do appreciate it. If you've liked it, please subscribe, and I will see you next time.